10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone. Hope you all are good. It's our third session. Today we are going to conduct it. So make sure you guys have uh, watched our previous video sessions and do. So today we are going to learn about 3ds Max by default shapes and modifiers. As we know, the last video we had talked about the by default 3D objects and we had learned it like the 3D geometry objects we have done with that, and we have done some some exercise and we have done it. Similarly, today we will be going with the by default shapes and introducing some modifiers also. Okay, so we'll be just open the software. Okay, so here just open the software here. Now we have to start with the shapes option. Okay, what is basically shapes? Last class we have done with the in the create tab in that geometry. We came over here and in this one we selected the shapes geometry option. In that we have done with the box and cone, and we have done with the almost all the basic objects from here. Similarly, we also have 3D 2D objects here. I mean in 3ds Max we also have a 2D objects that's called actually shapes. Shapes means the 2D objects. What is the use of 2D objects here, right? The 2D objects we can create it from the 2D objects. We can create a 3D models over here. Like we can convert that 2D objects to 3D model. Now just we can start with the let it be align tool. So make sure we had selected the create tab. In that we had selected the shapes option. Below this one we had selected the splines. Okay, the splines will give you the all the 2D objects over here. So I'm just coming over here in the top view. Okay, selected the top view. Now if I want to create a 2D objects, we are just starting with the line tool here. I selected a line tool. Now you can start to create it here. Before start to creating, we have a creation method here. Okay, we have a creation method. You can see here in the right side creation method is visible. So the creation method is like we can select the like whether you want corner to corner, smooth to smooth, some options is there. We'll just have a look what is the use of this option center. So first we are starting with the corner to corner option. Okay, so I selected the corner to corner option. Then we can start from any of this area, like this is our grid portion. Now we have to start pick it from here. Let it be I just click the first point over here. Now we click the first point, you can see the line has been started. Now in AutoCAD and all, we have a straight key option like ortho mode options and all. Similarly, if you want to get a straight line here, see, suppose if I just click it, it won't become as a straight line. If you want to get it created as a straight lines, means you have to hold shift key in your keyboard, then only the straight key will be available here. Okay, so the straight key will be available once you hold the shift key. Okay, so we clicked on a shift key and now we can create it. Now what is the use of corner to corner we selected, right? Now corner to corner, if you click it and if you start to create a line, you can see whenever you click on the line, it will never make a smooth corner. Like suppose if you click and go, you can see the sharp corner only it will be keep on creating. Okay, so it will never create a edge like a smooth line or fillet lines, it won't be creating. Suppose if you want to create a suppose like a curved lines or fillet areas, and if you want to create it, what you have to do, you have to select the initial type as a corner and the drag type. What is the drag type? We'll see the difference. Okay, so I selected the initial type as a corner and the drag type as a smooth option. Now okay, selected the initial type as corner and the drag type as a smooth option. Now I'm clicking on the first point and I dragged it over here by clicking on the shift key. I clicked one point here. Here also I'm creating the straight line. After that I plan to create a just a smooth line over here, so I just clicked on over here. Now you can see if you click it and drag it, okay, if you click it and drag it, you can see the line has been created as a smooth lines over here. Now you can easily create control the smoothness and all, and you can click on the next point again, you can keep on continuing. So if you want to create a straight lines, mean you can just hold shift key, and if you normally click it, it will create it as a straight line only. Well, you can see the drag type we have selected as a smooth option. That means once you click and drag it over here only, you can see the object will become as a smooth object here. Okay, so you can easily control the areas under here. You can easily control the smooth lines and corner lines over here. Okay, so this is the another method. Similarly, if you want only the curvy lines here, means we have to come up with the smooth and drag type also smooth option and initial type also smooth option. So if I click it directly, now you can see it will be automatically creating it as a smooth object only. So smooth to smooth, we have to select it. Okay, that is one option, and one more option we have in the editable spline, I mean the line option. We have the option called bezier option. Bezier, it's like we have handles along with that. Like if you want, you can control it like very accurately. We can control the smoothness and we can control the directions and very properly. The smoothness we can control it. That bezier we have different, I mean a lot of option in the bezier that will be learning with the help of editable spline options coming in, that will be learning very detailedly about the editable spline and all. Okay, so this is the creation method of line. Similarly, now when I'm creating a line, I'm just you got the idea about the creation methods and all. So first I'm just going with the corner to corner option only. Okay, now I just creating a line, just a shape of rectangle we can create it. When I'm creating a rectangle, see, I'm not getting any like object snapping tracking option and all, it won't be available here. So if you're starting with over here, now if you just click on it, the exact point, if you want to finish it, it won't be able to finish it over here. So what we'll do, we have to just click on any point and you have to finish it over here. So if you want to use it, I mean by clicking here, you can just click it. Once you close the, I mean once you click on the starting point, it will be getting an option called close spline option. So close spline, it will come out there, you can click yes to close the line. If you click no, the line will be continuing again out from there. Okay, so we just created like this. Now I just pressed escape key. Now if you want to make this lines straight, okay, like this only we can close it. Suppose if you want to make this line as straight, what we have to do, we have to come over here in the modifier option, the line I had selected. Okay, so in the line we had selected the line option in the modifier. Then in this option you can see there is a small arrow mark here, you can drop down the arrow mark. Then we have a three options in that: vertex and segment and spline. What is vertex and segment and spline options, and we'll be detailing any. So today we are just want to make how we have to make this, I mean line has to be straight. Okay, so for that I'm selecting the vertex option. Vertex I had selected. Okay, now from here we have to select the vertexes. What is the vertexes basically? Now you can see once you selected the vertex, you can see this point is highlighting here. This corner points is called vertexes. Okay, this point is called vertexes. Now if you select this vertex here, and if you turn on the move tool, we learned what is move tool in the last class. Okay, W is the shortcut. So if you press W, you can see the move tool will be available over here. I selected the move tool. Then now we have to move this object. Suppose this is the area we have to copy, same position we want to get it over here. Okay, so we are able to move this object. But once you move it and place it also, we can place it exact position. But once you select this vertex point position, you can see we have to move this object to reach over here. We are moving with the y-axis, right? So we'll select this object and we can see what is the y-coordinate position here. Once you turn on the move tool and in the below axis, the last class we had explained you each object what we create here, that will be having a position, like from the 0 level it will be placed a position, like what is the distance in the x, what is the distance in the y, that will be located here. You can find out it from here on the coordinates option. Now, if you select the vertex from here, we can directly come over here the y-axis value. Okay, it is written here 160. So we can just double click it and we can copy it from there, Control C. Then we can come over here and the same value what we had seen here, that value you can paste it here. Just press Control V and Control V. Yes, that has been appeared. Okay, so once again. So the rectangle has been created. Now you can see the rectangle is straight. Okay, so we just need to copy the corner point, the vertex point to what is the position has been changed. That vertex point we have to change it from here. Similarly, if the mistake from here, let it be this is the point has been changed. So what we like this position we have to paste it here. So which point we have to drag it and reach it over here. So if you select it, you can see the x coordinate we have to move it and place it to reach it over here. So what we'll do, if you want to get it over here, we have to select this vertex point and which axis. X axis is varying, right? So we have to select the x axis coordinate from here, Control C, then similarly come over here, then we have to press Control V. Just need to copy paste the position of the vertex. The vertex has to be selected from here, then you have to make sure you had selected the vertex from here also, and the move tool should be on. If the move tool is off, you can see the coordinates, you won't be able to copy it from here. So make sure the move tool is on, then you have to see which axis is varying. From the varying axis you have to make sure which axis you want to copy it. So that position you have to copy it and you have to paste it to the which object you want to move it to the same position. Okay, so that's what we have done. So now you can see the rectangle has been created. So except the line tool, what are all the options we have in the editable spline, I mean the splines option. See here, line has been created. Similarly, we have a rectangle option. We have, if you want to create a rectangle, we can easily create a rectangle from here. Okay, you can just click and drag it. But if you create a rectangle, if you come over here on the modifier list, you won't be getting the vertex option or else the segment spline. We had seen the line when you're selecting, you can see there is a lot of options, three sub options we have here. But if you select the rectangle window, we don't have the sub option. Similarly, if you just create a circle, let it be I'm creating a circle here. I created a circle, and when I come over here on the modifier list, see, still I don't have any options over here. So the thing is like the line in the splines, it's called editable spline. By default, it's an editable spline. Suppose if you want to modify this rectangle, like if you want to change the shapes or else if you want to make any small changes and all over here, we require the help from the editable spline. At the time, we have to convert this object and all to editable spline, and this object is by default editable spline. What is the editable spline and what is the use of editable spline, and we'll be learning about in next classes. Okay, so I just selected rectangle. What else options we will be getting from the editable, I mean the rectangle itself. So I selected the rectangle. Now you can see length we can adjust it. Similarly, we can adjust the width. So you can adjust the, if you want specific value means you can also type it here. Let it be 520 here. I typed it here. Okay. Similarly, if you want to make it as a curved corners and all, you can see there is a corner radius option. You can just click it and drag it from here. Now you can see the corner has been become as a filleted corners. Okay, you can see it's become filleted. Now that corner radius will be applying for all the four sides. Suppose if you want to place it only for one corner and all, that is not possible with the rectangle option from here. So at that time and all, you require the editable spline option. So we will be learning that in the next class. So we'll just go through the what and all option we have here. We have a donut shape. We can just create it with donut shapes like this. Similarly, we have the radius 1 and radius 2 option. Okay, and similar we can see there is an icon option. You can just click and drag it. It's similar to the polygon shape and star shape. You can see here, just click and drag it. And first radius is there, second radius is there, so you can just control the second radius and first radius. You can see radius 1 and its radius 2, and we have to come over here the points option. If you increase the points option, you can see the star or the points, you can increase it from here. And similarly, you can see the fillet radius. If you apply the fillet radius values, and you can see the sharp corner has been changed to the, like you can see it is getting filleted over here. Similarly, the inside area also, if you want, you can fillet it. Let it be 50, I had applied it, you can see it is getting filleted here. Similarly, if I want to change it here, let it be 60, you can see the filleted corners, you can see here. So the sharp corner we can change to the filleted at the center. So similarly, we have a lot of by default 2D objects. So what is the use of this 2D objects means this all 2D objects we can convert to as a 3D objects. That is the exact use of this one. Okay, suppose if you want to, like, suppose this type of shape we can't get it from the geometries, right? In the geometries, that filleted box is not there. We have separate option chamfer box or indolence coming, but here let it be in this shape. We want to get it as a, like a 3D objects. So the rectangle, if you want, you can just create a box shape and you can get it as a 3D objects. But in this one, if you want to get it, means what you have to do, we have to create a rectangle and we have to create the filleted option, and we can apply a modifier to convert this object as a 3D object. So for that, I selected this line. Then we can come over here on the modifier. Normally we had seen only this modifier, right? Except this one, we have one more option, modifier list. If you select the object, you have to make sure you selected the object. Otherwise, if you drop in the modifier list, nothing will be available. So we selected the object. Then you had to come over here in the modifier list, drop down the modifier list. Then you will be finding, you can see there are a lot of options. Okay, so we required it one modifier to convert this object as a 3D object. So for that, we don't need to search it here. What you have to do, drop down the modifier list, then just type ex, then you will be finding the first option as a extrude. Okay, you just need to press ex here. You don't need to write the complete name, and if you just press ex, you can see the extrude modifier will be available here. So I selected the extrude modifier. Once you press the extrude modifier, you can see the object has been filled with a surface. Okay, it doesn't have any thickness, but it's got just filled with a surface here. Now this object, if you want to make some thickness under for here, what we'll do, we can see the extrude, we have a separate modifier over here. We have the rectangle here. The rectangle was the previous object. The rectangle size is still remaining over there. Similarly, we also added one more modifier. So if you add a modifier, it will be keep on showing upon this one. Okay, if you add another modifier again, it will be keep on showing upon this one. Okay, so we selected the extrude modifier, and that properties, if you want to get the, you can see the parameters will be available here. If you want to get the rectangle parameter, means you can select the rectangle and you can get the parameter of this. You can still edit the size of the rectangle, and you can see that object will be get changed over here. Okay, so now we have to get the thickness. So if you want to get the thickness, we have to come up with the extrude modifier. Okay, so I selected the extrude modifier, then I'm changing the amount value option. So I selected the amount, and you can see the object we got a thickness. So if you want more specifically, means you can change the thickness, let it be 20, or else what is the thickness you want, you can type it here and you can get the thickness exactly over here. Okay, so this is the one method to create the shape center like this. Similarly, if you want to get it a circle to get filled it over here, means what we have to do, we have to select the circle and you have to come over here on the modifier list. Then what we have to do, we have to type ex for getting the extrude modifier. Select the extrude modifier, you can see what happened directly, the amount has been applied as 50. Before it was not there, right? So it means the previous value will be always repeating. Okay, so the last value, it is just repeated here. That's why the value has become 50 over here. If you want to make the changes, means you can change it from here. Okay, so you can keep on make the changes. Similarly, what is the exact use of this one, means when you create a landscape areas and all, at the time we have a different shapes, right? At the time and all, what we'll do, we'll just create a line. Suppose just an example, except that the rectangle shapes and all, we can just create it like see, I just created a something shape like this. Okay, then I just closed it. Now in this one, if you want to get filled with the surface, means what we'll do, we'll directly come over here and we have to apply the extrude modifier on here. So similarly, we can apply the extrude modifier in all the areas. Okay, so when we create the landscaping for the buildings and we can create the exact shapes over there, then we can apply the extrude modifier. Okay, and also if we get the reference from the AutoCAD plans, then it will be helpful for us to get the exact position and the distance, everything. So from that, how to import the AutoCAD plan and all, we will be learning later on. So with the help of extrude modifier, then we can convert it. Okay, now similarly, the last class we had talked about the some of the geometry options, and we linked how we can use a move option, right? Except the move option, we have a different options here, the rotation tool and scale tool. So how we have to use the rotation tool? Okay, so I selected the object. E is the shortkey for the rotation tool. Now if you want to rotate this object, now you can see the symbol The rotation tool symbol is like this. Okay, so here we can see now if I click on this axis, that yellow color it is indicating, that means this is the activated axis. Now if you just click and drag it, which axis it's moving, you can see that Z axis is the blue color, and when I'm rotating you can see that the blue color it is getting filled over here. That means the Z axis is activated here. Okay, so if you select this over here, you can see the blue color. The blue color axis is the Z axis, and you can see Z specifically you can rotate it, or else if you want to rotate it the X axis, you can see the red color. So the red color you can just click and drag it, you can see now the X will be holding from there and it will be rotating around that. Okay, similarly you can see the Y axis, you can just rotate it like this, it will be get filled with a green color. Okay, now if you want to rotate it exactly like in a specified angle and so if you want to rotate a specified angle, either we have to use angle snap, or else we can also see once we created an object, you can see X, Y, Z axis. So I selected the Z axis and I made it as a 0 here. Okay, I just made it as a 0. Now, if you want to make exactly 90 degree has to be rotated. One second, I'll just make some with changes and okay. Now we'll just need to rotate it. So this Z axis, I just came over here and I typed here 90. So you can see it's exactly rotated as a 90 degree. But if you want to rotate it in a more specifically like in different areas and what we have to do, we have to use the angle snap option. Angle snap, how we have to use it, we have to select the object and you can see the angle snap toggle option here. You can just click on it and we have to specify how much degree we have to rotate it. So for that we have to right click here in the angle snap. Now you can find out angle option. Okay, in the options you can see angle option, you can find out here. In this one, how much degree you have to rotate it. Let it be I want to rotate it around 60 degree. Okay, set it as a 60 degree. Now if you close this one, the angle snap is activated. A is the short key. Okay, either you can click on it and turn on it, or else you can press A and you can turn on this option. Okay, now if you rotate this object, now you can see this object will be rotating only in the 60 degrees only. So you can just rotate it 60, 120 and you can again see 60. Okay, so it will be keep on rotating in the 60 degrees only. Okay, if the snap is off, you can see the object will be rotating in the, like you can see how much it's rotating, like 45, 50, like this, like numeric values will be calculating. So if you want to rotate it in a specific angle, it won't be accurate to use this one. So what we'll do, we'll be using the angle snap and we have to rotate that. So make sure you know we have to use the angle snap when we are rotating the object. And more specifically, if you want to rotate this object, like I just want to rotate this object as a 90 degree, so what will do, or 60 degree, so as a copy, then what we have to do, we have to hold shift key, then if you just rotate it, you can see the object will take it as a copy. Okay, so copy option, it will work for the rotation also the same way, because the last class we had done the copy option for the move tool by holding the shift key. Similarly for the rotation also the same option only for by clicking the shift key, and you can just click on the object and you can just click it and drag it. Now you can see the object will get rotated. Okay, so this is how we have to rotate it as a copy. Okay, so the same option in the move tool, how we copied, like which axis you want to get a copy, we have to hold shift key and we have to drag it and get a copy, and we have to explain this option center in the last class. Similarly, I selected the copy option and you can apply the number of axes and number of copies here. Similarly, the rotation option, we can select this object, use the rotation tool, use the short key, and you have to hold shift key and you have to drag it from here. Once you drag it, you can see we are getting a copy in the specified position only. If you want to get more copies, means you can increase the copy number, you can see that object will get copied in the 60 degree angles only. Okay, so this is how we can take it copies in the rotation. Okay, similarly now we have some modifiers here. What is modifiers basically? Suppose the last class I had explained it. Suppose if you create a box, okay, we have a box here and I just created a sphere. The sphere and door, the last class I had explained it about, we have a segments option and door here, right? If you press F4, you can see the edge surface mode in that segments will be clearly visible with the surface itself. Okay, so here you can see the segments is visible and here there is no segments. Now if you click the sphere and if you make any changes here in this option, like I made some changes in the segments, you can see the smoothness is getting affected. But in case of box and door, when I'm applying the segments, you can see length segments I'm applying, or else the height segments I'm applying, or else the height, like height and width segments, everything is applied. But there is no difference will be get affected in this box, right? Okay, but in the sphere, when I'm changing the segments value, it's completely changing the shape. Okay, so the smoothness is affecting mainly for here. But here, what is the use of segments in the box? There is no smoothness, then what is the use of segments, right? So what is the use of segments here? It's like if you apply a modifier, Just an example, today we are going to learn about a bend modifier. Okay, like we can bend this box over here. Suppose if you want to bend this object, we have to select this object from here. Then if you come over here on the modifier list, then here drop down the modifier list, you have to type BE, you'll be finding the bend modifier here. Drop down the bend modifier and select the bend modifier. You can see bend has been applied. I'm just turn off the edge face option. You can see there is an orange line, it is available here. That means that is the bend modifier is indicating out here. Now if you want to apply the angle over here, now you can see Z axis has been selected. So in the vertical axis has been selected. Now if it will be rotated, it will be rotating along the Z axis only. Now if you apply the angle here, so we can just control the angle. You can see we can apply the angle over here. Okay, so 90 degree I just rotated. 90 degree has been rotated. So we can see the smoothness, the perfect smoothness we are getting. Just we are getting the smoothness just because of we added the segments. Without segments, if you come over here and if you add the bend modifier, it won't be get bended like this. So just an example, we can come over here to the box modifier again. If you come over here, the bend modifiers will be available. So we want to come back to the box modifier. So I just click it over here. Now in this one, I'm decreasing the segment center value. See, all the segments I made it as 1. And if I decrease the height segments, because we are bending vertically, so if I decrease the height segment, you can see what happened. The object is became slanted object. It's not a bending, right? So the bend modifier, it has to work once you apply the height segment. See, suppose if I increase in 2 segments, you can see only 1 segment has been applied. You can see just it's not smooth an object, it is very sharp corner it is placing, right? Now if I apply, let it be 3 segments, now you can see when I'm increasing the segments value, the object is coming more smoothen. You can see you can keep on increasing the segments value, it will become as a more smooth object. Okay, so you can easily control the segments value and you can control the smoothness of the bend end. So similarly we will be learning a lot of modifiers. So when we recruit the modifiers, like when we are going to apply some modifiers in the object, at the time only we have to apply the segment center. Simply if you're not applying any modifiers and for that object, don't use any segment center. And one more thing you have to notice is when we are applying the segments here, like we had applied the segments over here, right? And the next object when you are creating, like a similar box I'm creating, the same segments value will be repeating. So at the time what we have to do, make sure you decrease the segments, because if you are not going to use any modifiers in that, don't use any segments over there, because that will increase your file size and it will be keep on stacking and some problems will be getting over there. So that we can avoid it if you use the segments only if it's secure. Okay, and use the segments value below around 40 or 50 values and you can just keep it over here. More than that we don't record it. Okay, just keep it as 50 and you'll be getting almost fine bending out here. Okay, so I just deleted this object. Now similarly we had learned the bend modifier only it is Z axis, right? Just an example, just create it again. Okay, so here I'm applying the height segments only I had applied it, so I'm applying the bend modifier again here, bend modifier. Then I just apply the angle. When I'm applying the angle, you can see vertical axis has been selected, that means Z axis. But for the Z axis, it's have a 4 sides. It can be rotated to this side or else this side, or else you can rotate it to this side also, right? So we have to control the direction, which direction it has to rotate it. So by selecting the Z axis, you can also find out the direction option is below. So if you type here 90 degree, we can see the object has been rotated and it will be rotating out here. Similarly, you can type 180, you can see it's rotating here. Let it be 270, you can see it's rotating here. So you can keep on controlling the rotation angle over here. Okay, now this Z axis only have done. So the height segment only I had applied it. Similarly, I selected this object. Okay, now I had applied the length segment and width segment center. Now if I want to rotate it in the Y axis, what I will do, I will use the bend modifier again here. Then if I apply the angle, you can see the object is working now with the Z axis. That's why it is going vertically. If I turn off the vertex segments, I just turned off it. Now if you work with the Y axis, you can see Y axis is rotating towards here. We can rotate it here. You can control the axis like this. Now in the Y axis, you can rotate it on the all the sides, right? So what we'll do, we'll keep on changing the direction. Let it be 90 degree, or else you can type to 180. You can see it will be keep on changing the direction. Similarly, if you want to rotate it in the X axis and do just example, I just created in this axis one object. Like this width is very less here, that's why I'm using this another box here. Similarly, I came out here and I'm applying the bend modifier. And if I apply the angle, we have to select the x-axis, and if I'm applying the angle, you can see the x-axis it is rotating here. So similarly, if you want, you can change the direction and do let it be 90 degree. You can see the object is rotating and changing the direction. Okay, so this is how we have to apply the bend modifier center. So we'll just create a sample model how we can go with the bend modifier center. Before that, we have to talk about one more option. We have learned the last class the snap option, right? The snap option we had learned it. Similarly, if you just click and drag it here in the snap option, you can find out a bit more options in that 2 snap and 2.5 and 3 snap. What is the use of this snapping option center, right? Okay, just an example. We had learned about the line tool and we'll just create a simple box here first. Okay, just created a box. Okay, similarly, I created one more box here and keep on creating. Here also I created one more object. You can see these three objects. It is behind. It is being placed it, and you can see it's in a different size, right? Okay, we'll just press Alt W to minimize this viewport. Okay, we can just minimize it and make sure this is in the front view. This viewport you can see we had make it as a front view and press Z to just get to fit in the screen and make it as a default shader, so you can see in the color. If you want, you can turn off the grids also. Okay, so here I just applied it like this. Okay, so here we can see we are in the perspective view, here we are in the front view. Okay, just focus on these two views only. Now you can just move it here so you can make this as a bigger piece. Okay, so now I'm using the line tool here with the help of 3 snap option. When I'm using 3 snap, I'm clicking on this point. Okay, I clicked it out here. Now the next point here, and I'm clicking here, and I'm clicking over here, click it here, click it here, and I'm just directly coming out here. You can find it from here very easily. You can click it and close it here. Okay, just close it. You can see here in the 3D view, it will be automatically clicking on the corner point of these all objects, right? Okay, all these objects is being getting created. But if you use this option, that means 3D snap, it will work for all the objects. Wherever you want to click it, that your point, you can get it. Like you can easily get this points option center. You can click anywhere you want. Okay, but instead of the 3 snap option, if you use the 2.5, okay, I'm using the 2.5 snap. Now you can see this is our grid position, right? So this is our grid position. So like not only for the top view we have the grids, like we have the front view grids also. Like this will be our front view grids. Okay, now if I go for the 2.5 snap option, now if I create the same line over here, see I'm getting the snap again, I'm using the snap here, again I'm clicking on these points and I'm closing it over here. Just click yes to close this command. Now you can see the object where it has been created. It is not even touching this object, and if you zoom it, you can see the exact grid position it has been placed it. Okay, the exact grid position it has been placed it. That means the 2.5 snap, you can easily click on the object and you can get the snap option, but the option will be, I mean the object will be creating in the grid level only. What is the use means, suppose if you are creating a, like you imported the AutoCAD plan into, and if you are creating from the top view, you created a wall already. Okay, you want to create a flooring area for that, or else anything you want to just create it in the grid level only. So what we'll do, if the object, if it's not even touched the grid level, okay, if it's not even touched the grid level and you want to create a line over here, what we'll do, we'll use the 2.5 snap, and if you create it, what will happen, the object, we can snap it from the top view and we can easily create it, and we can click yes, you can see the object has been created in the downside only. Okay, but instead of that, if you use the 3 snap option, what will happen, I use the 3 snap option and I use the line again. Now you can see the object will be creating on the top view itself. Okay, so you can see the object has been created on the grid level and this object has been created at the top view over here. Similarly, we have one more option, that is a 2 snap option. Okay, 2 snap. 2 snap, what is the use means, now this object is lifted from the grid level, right? This object is not touching the grid level and this all objects is touching the grid level. So the similar to 2 snap, 2.5 snap only, the 2 snap. Okay, but the main difference is coming from here, like the line, if you select it and if you come over here, see there is no snapping option I'm getting over here. Y means the object once it's touching the grid level only you'll be getting the snap option. So you can specify which object is not touching the grid level, or else whether it is touching the grid level. We can easily get to know about it. Now you can see the line has been created in the grid level. So the 2.5 snap and 2 snap, it will, if you snap it, the object will be creating in the grid level only, and the main difference is coming here. Like the 2.5 snap, once it's 2.5 snap, is if the object is touching the grid level, or else if it's not touching the grid level also, it will be get snapped and it will be creating in the grids only. But the 2 snap, it will create the lines only once the object is touching the grid level. Okay, that is the main difference we are getting out here. So just delete all this object. Now we'll just create a simple model today for an exercise. We can just use a box here. Okay, just creating a box, and I'm changing the size from here. Let it be the length as 500 and the width as 300, and I'm using the height as around 40. Okay, just make it as a 40. Object has been created. Turn off the snap ender. I'm not using the snap here. Now I'm using the one more option, just create a box. In this box you can see the segments will be get applied. So if you want to turn off the segments, you can see segments is there. I don't need to use any modifiers here, so I just decrease the segments by using enter, decrease all the segments. Okay, selected this object. Now above this one I want to create a one more box here. So what we have to do, we have to select the auto grid option. Selected the auto grid option, then we have to click it and drag it here easily with the height. Okay, so the height has been applied. Now you can see the values has been changed. We have to change it. At the length I'm keeping it as, let it be 25, and the width we are keeping it as 25, and the height I'm keeping it as around 500. Okay, that's been created. Now if you want, you can just keep it in the corner areas and just apply this exactly, not exactly corner, just made it as almost in the specified area. So here, now if you want to bend this object, how we have to bend it? We require the height segment first of all. So I just apply the height segment. Then we have to come over here on the modifier list. We have to type here bend. So you can see bend modifier has been applied. So I want to rotate it exactly 90 degrees. So I typed here 90. It's went over there. I want to rotate it to this side. So what we'll do, I'll type here minus 90. So it will be get rotated here. Okay. Now actually I don't want to rotate it completely like this. Actually I want to rotate it in a specified angle. Specifically, if you want to rotate it, what you have to do, we have two options. One is limit effect, and another one is we can control the gizmo point. Like we can select the gizmo option from here, and we can control the move point position because it's placed in the base point. Once it's placed on the base point, it will be start rotation from here itself. So we don't want to start rotating from here. Okay. So we'll be specifying how, first of all, how we have to specify means once you turn on the limit effect, what happened, there is no limit effect. Limit effect means we can specify in between area. So just make the angle as 0. Okay, then we can see if you turn off the F4 enter, turn off the F4, selected the object, and now you can see the limit effect I'm applying. Okay, so just apply the limit effect value as around 50, or else let it be 150. Okay, 150. You can see there is an orange line, it is getting applied here. So after applying the limit effect, now if you apply the angle value, you can see what happened. Before it was total, the object was applying the bend angle, right? But now only from here to the limit effect till where we had applied, only that area it is getting bended, and after that you can see the object is keep straight. Okay, so if you want to rotate to the backside means we have to type minus 90 angle, then it will be get rotated here. Okay, or else you can change the direction also. Okay, let it be 90 degree angle only. You can change the angle from direction from here, let it be 90 or else 180. Okay, you can see we can rotate it to the this side. Now this much angle is enough for me, but the thing is, like, I don't want to bend it in the base point. I want to bend it in the middle of this area. So what we'll do, we have to lift this gizmo point to the z-axis. If you directly lift it, the object will be get lifted. But what we have to do, if you want to move this position of this pivot point, you have to select the gizmo option, the transform gizmo. We have to select it from here. Now if you move with the z-axis, you can see the object, it's not moving, the only the this specified things is moving. Okay, the gizmo point is moving. Now you can apply the angle, you can specify it, and you can control the limit effect and let it be just control the limit effect. Okay, like this I control the limit effect option. This is how we have to limit effect and do the angle also you can control it. Let it be 90 degree only, more specifically. Okay, if you want you can also change the colors and all. Okay, like it's not a material, we can make some color changes and all. We can come out here on the modifier list, and you can see when you're creating there is a color has been applied, so you can select the color, and if you want let it be just a blue color has been applied. Okay, just a color has been applied it for this object. Now, similarly, we want to get a sum of copies of this object. So what we'll do, we'll hold shift key, then with the y-axis I'm taking a copy. That will be just a 5 copies are selected, and we have to go with the instance option. Instance will help you if you make any changes, everything will be get affected over there. Okay, I selected around 5 objects we have here now, so we can just place the position almost over here. Okay, I selected all the objects and I placed it almost in the center area. Now what I'll do, in between I want some more boxes here. So what we'll do is create a box again, and I want to start it from here. So make sure you turn on the auto integrator, then only you'll be getting this option. Okay, so we have to just click it over here, then you can easily drag a box from here to here. You can see the box has been created. Let it be get inserted, not a problem. You can see the object has been created. Okay, if you want to adjust the position, means by using move tool we can adjust it, and with the x-axis then we can adjust it. Created. Similarly, we want to get a copy of this object, and before that I'm just making the color change for that. Just a white color has been applied. Okay. Similarly, I want to get some copies to z-axis, so what I'll do, I'll hold shift key, I'll get a copy, and I want 3 more copies. Okay, this object has to be rotated a bit, so what I'll do, I'll just move this with the x-axis, and after moving it has to be rotated according to the bending, right? So use the rotation option. Now we have to rotate it with which axis? The y-axis. Okay, so if you use the y-axis, you can see the object will be get bended here. Okay, similarly we bended this object. We have to get bit more option, copies over here, so you can see like this we can get a copy, or else if you want to get a copy more specifically, means you can just come out here in the side options and make sure you're in the wireframe mode. Okay, then just get a copy with the z-axis, then just adjust the position and place it over here. Then again, if you want, you can rotate it here. Make sure you're selecting the specified rotation angle only. Okay. Similarly, I selected this object, instance option, and if you want, you can rotate it more specifically over here. You can keep the y-axis value as 90 degree, so it will be exactly 90 degree here. Here we are just guessing the angle over here, then we just placed it, and here we have to place it exactly 90 degree. Then similarly we can just get a copy with the x-axis. Let it be 2 more copies has been placed. You can see just a simple model we had created over here. Okay, so with the bend modifier we created this one. Now similarly, just a curious model and we can just create it. So for that, you can see just a table I want to create it with the help of bend modifier, not a proper table and all, just a simple exercise as a bend modifier. Okay, just creating a symbol box here by using auto grid option. So I can create it upon this one. Okay, so just creating a box. Let it be the length I'm applying around 450, not 450, let it be 400. Okay, similarly the width I'm keeping, let it be 10, and the height I'm giving it as, let it be 160. Okay, 160 is the height has been applied. Now this object we have to apply the bend modifier. So for that we require the segments. We don't have a segments in this one, so I apply the height segments. Okay, then I selected this object, just keep it as a bit more fine side. Then I'm applying a modifier here, bend modifier. Okay, in the bend modifier we can apply the angle, so it is rotating exactly to the required side only. But what we have to do, we have to apply the bend limit effect here, and as well as the controlling the position. So what we'll do, we'll just turn on the limit effect. So we'll apply some values here, let it be 60 as a limit effect. Turn on it. Now you can see limit effect has been applied from the base only. So we have to adjust the move point, right? The Gizmo we have to change it. So drop down the bend modifier, you will be finding the Gizmo option. Then with the help of z-axis we can just left it to this object. Okay, now we just want to rotate it exactly 90 degrees. So what we'll do, angle 90. Okay, you can see the object has been rotated very specifically. We'll decrease a bit more height. You can see here the height has been controlled. Some of the F4 enter, so it will be just control the position. You can just control the position with the help of Gizmo point. You can just easily move it and control the angle enter. But the thing is, like, make sure you selected the Gizmo option from here. Then only you will be able to control this one. If you escape it, or else if you didn't select the Gizmo option and if you drag it to here, means what will happen? The object will be start moving over there. Okay, so make sure you selected the Gizmo option from here. Then only you can control this one. Okay, so we had applied it like this. Now we just want to create a one more option here. Let it be a tool shapes. If you want to create it, we can just create it with a cylinder. Okay, just create a cylinder and apply some heights here. Let it be the radius, I'm keeping it as 20, and the height I'm keeping it as 60. Okay, now we are going to apply one modifier over here. So as a modifier, I'll just show you first here as a copy how we have to modify this object. Let it be we are going to apply modifier called taper modifier. What is the use of taper modifier here? Basically, we can just create a box also. Then I'll create it. Okay. Height segments is there. Similarly, I'm applying the length segments and width segments also. Now I'm applying a modifier list. From the modifier list, I'm applying the taper modifier. Okay. Selected the taper modifier. Then I'm applying the angle value. Okay. So I had applied the angle. You can see what happened, the object is getting expanded here, like when we create the table like center, it is useful. Okay, so if you want to more specifically to control the amount, like once you increase the amount, what will happen, the object will be keep on expanded like this. Okay, so if you want to control the taper value, you can, like, the total width will be get changed. So if you want to control it, means you can come back to the box again and you can control the length and width and all that. We can control it. Okay, the total size is width is getting affected and you can come back to the taper again. Now we have one more option here, curve option. If you increase the curve, you can see you can make it as a more bulgy look. If you keep it as a minus value here, you can see towards inside also you can apply the taper values and the curve you can control it. Okay, similarly here also we have a limit effect option. I turn on the limit effect. There is no limit effect value we had applied it, so I'm applying the upper limit value. Okay, the upper limit value I'm applying. Once I'm applying the upper limit value, you can see only this much specific area only I had applied it. Let it be a bit more, right? Let it be 100 distance. Okay, so I don't want to curve into. You can see now if you apply the taper value, only the specific area only it is getting applied. Okay, the taper value it is getting applied only this specific area. So the total object it won't be get affected, only the particular area will be get affected once you apply the taper modifier. Okay, so we had applied the amount and you can see the changes is getting applied. Once we created the table like center, at the time it is useful to create the taper modifier like this, or else many options we can use it. Okay, and we had seen, like, we had applied the bend modifier everything, but in that we didn't learn one thing. We had applied the bend modifier. When we are applying the bend or taper modifier enter, we are finding one option, like we had applied the angle, everything is perfect, and we know what we had to do with the limit effect, and we had applied the limit effect as 50, and or else let it be 200. You can see limit effect you can apply it, and you can also change the Gizmo point and you can make the changes like this and all I told you. But the thing is, like, what is the use of lower limit? Similarly, how you apply the upper limit, and you can also apply the lower limit option. You can see the base point is here. From that a yellow line is moving, that means the lower limit is going on. So if I make it as around 100 here, you can see from the lower portion also you can control the limit over here, then the object will be start rotating from that angle also. So just let it be 150 angle, you can keep it the same, then you can control the Gizmo points and also you can control the position like this angle. Okay, so it's like from the base level you can apply the upper limit and as well as the lower limit over here. So in this option we had used only the upper limit option, but here we had applied the upper limit and lower limit. If you don't apply the upper limit, lower limit here, you can see from this base point the object is rotating only this axis. The downside there is no rotation because we didn't apply any lower limit value over here. So if you want to get the lower rotation also, means what you have to do, you have to apply the lower limit option, the value you have to apply here. Let it be 120. You can see minus 120. You can see the rotation will be get applied here. Okay, so that is a lower limit option. Similarly, now we have to create a stool object I told you. So we can select this object and we can come over here and we have to apply the taper modifier. And in this one I'm applying the amount. You can see it will be get expanded, And after that, what I'm doing here, basically I'm applying a curve, so you can just control the curves like this. So just a simple just tool option we can create it, so that will be get applied out here. So we can select this object, let it be the height I'm increasing, let it be 18, or just enough. We just want to increase the height of this object, so what we'll do, we'll select this small, and we can increase it like this. Okay, we'll change the color as well. Okay, and here I'm applying as a just select some color. Now for this one I'm applying a taper value. Apply the taper. Then we can control the amount value here. You can expand the amount, and you can also use the curve option to increase it. You can see this is simple shape has been created. Okay. Similarly, you can also notice here there is one option. See, it's the edgy look it's facing here, right? So it's coming just because of the cylinder. The sides is only 18 sides has been increased. So if you increase the sides, you can see you'll be getting more smooth edges here. Okay, so we adjusted there. Then you can just use the shift key and get a copy from here to here. Let it be 3 copies we need it. Go with the instance option and get a copy like this. Okay, you can see the object has been copied. Okay, so you can see now a simple kiosk model we just created only with the bend and taper modifier. We just used only the bend and taper modifier. We have also different option to create all this objects and all, but today we just learned only the bend and taper modifier. So with that we created a simple model, something like this. You can also try this model and all. Okay, so that's all for today. So we can also come back on the next week on Thursday. So please make sure you're watching all these videos over here. Okay, so we'll see you on the next week Thursday, the same timing. So see you guys.